Yep, we see it. Thank you.
Good. Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for having me out today, having our team out. We appreciate it very much, and we'd love to give you a um, kind of a very high level look at what we do, and then we'll get into a little some little bit of detail, and then I do believe in subsequent months we'll be digging into data and giving you some insights into the type of reporting that we do, and so that'll be coming up in future months. So today is just really to kind of get people thinking about the data that we have and orienting your thinking a little bit about it. So basically, I'm here to represent two systems, the Illinois Violent Death Reporting System and the statewide unintentional drug overdose reporting system. I work with the Buehler Center for Health Policy and Economics, and we are within Northwestern Feinberg School of Medicine. However, we're a strange duck in that we are funded primarily by the CDC, and we are considered a bona fide partner with the Illinois Department of Health. So we are the our systems, we gather data at the local level on every single preventable violent death that occurs within the state of Illinois. We gather information on who, what, where, when, and we pull all of this data together. We pull all this unique data elements together from multiple sources into a usable anonymous database. And that's what IVDRS and pseudodors are. Two databases with this data within it. And basically our goal is to look at data from individual deaths and then try to look at trends and patterns within the data so that we can give public health professionals such as yourselves insights into the upstream causes and maybe give you ideas on how to go about preventing these deaths occurring in the first place. So again, our purpose is to collect and disseminate for the purpose of policy and prevention. We collect data from coroner's offices, from medical examiners, funeral homes, it says here toxicology, autopsy, hospitals, paramedics, news reports, and we combine all that information together along with something really important, which is our abstract or narratives. So for every single preventable violent death that occurs in the state of Illinois, the state is brought together and there is an individual narrative for every single case. And that data kind of pulls all the different pieces together, and it's used for doing text analysis at universities and also for counties and who are, they'll have fewer deaths to look at, but they can actually go in and look at the narrative data as well relative to deaths. So for example, in Lake County, they wanted to look at infant mortality, actually infant homicides, and they were able to use the text analysis for that. Actually, they went in and they read it because there were so few, which was good. So the data is used by the state, county health departments, hospitals, townships, community action groups, research institutions. The Illinois Violent Death Reporting System, we collect data on homicide, suicide, legal intervention, and unintentional firearm deaths. Again, we keep track of the victim demographics. So we have information about age, type of work that people do, ethnicity, educational attainment, the cause of death, obviously, and the circumstances around the death itself. We also keep track of recent release from institutions, and that's been found to be very important for some of the counties that we work with, along with other data. The state unintentional drug overdose reporting system, again, we have the demographics, but we also keep track of the type of drugs that were in the body at the time of death. And right now we're seeing, many different kinds of drugs in bodies. And so it's but we try to identify which one caused the death. We look at whether there was a bystander, emergency management was on scene, the place of death, where the person resided. All of that information is within the system. The data we can collect up to, there's 2,400 fields, variables that we can collect data on. And the depth with which we collect the data is really based on how much information we're receiving from, the police department, from the detectives on scene, and whether crime scene data is collected at all, and to what degree, and also to what degree we're getting information from the funeral homes and from the coroner's offices. So the data is different across the state depending on the funding of the particular group that is sending us information, and also whether they are aware that the data is actually being used in systems like this to help public health. For the suicide circumstances, again, lots of different kinds. I put all of these in here because this 7553784 So this presentation will be made available to you so you can take a look at it. And if you have any questions about any of the fields, if you're looking for particular data, you might find it here, or you can shoot us an email. And but this might give you some ideas of what we do to get you started. So what's this all for? Why do we collect all of this data? Well, basically for prevention strategies. Right now, we're working on the west side of Chicago. We broke down the west side by zip code and all of the different communities. We're looking at the number of people who died and resided in the community versus those that did not reside in the community and died there. We found that almost a third of the people that were dying on the west side did not come from that community, but the data showed us this. We're also able to, with our heat maps, to look at high density fatal overdose areas, and we're actually working on block by block programs in not only in Chicago, but also in parts of Lake County as well. And so the purpose of all of this is to help people understand that, yes, there's the event-based decision making where you have to get out there and get onto a problem right away. But this work that we're doing is much more reflective, and as I said, we're looking at trends and patterns, contributing factors, and it really helps with trying to, when you're looking at policy, when you're looking at designing strategies for prevention, this data can be very useful. It's also helpful around resource allocation. If you get more insights, you can better spend the money that you have, and money is always in short supply. We've also found that people are using it in the hospital setting for their eye plans. So hospitals and counties are using the data. And if you are with a hospital and you haven't been using our data, we would love to talk to you. We're trying to get it out to as many folks as possible because, counties and hospitals will use this data for funding purposes. And so we want to make sure people for local areas can get as much funding as they can. But if you don't know you have a problem, or if you don't know how the problem, is materializing and manifesting in your community, it can be very challenging. So it can strengthen grant applications and also for initiative evaluation. We work with our partners, collaborate, and innovate with them. That's one of the things that we really get excited about. And we do this in a couple of different ways. You can go to our website. We have fact sheets and data briefs on the information that we collect. snapshots of the information that we collect. So we have that out there for both the IVDRS and the SUDOR system. We've been doing this since 2015. And so some of the data has been there for a lot. These data briefs and fact sheets have been out for a long time. If you see something that you're interested in and you want it updated, that's fine. We would be happy to do that for you. It's easy for us to do. We work with partners. We're working with a group up in Rockford. They're working on intimate partner violence analysis and prevention. We're working on the west side of Chicago. We work with state level data with Veterans Affairs. We work with community action groups. One group was interested in homicide, suicides, and overdose deaths in the 18 to 23-year-old range. We were able to get that data to them. And Tazewell County, they realized that through the data that they needed to update their how they were communicating to people in their community, because many of the people that were overdosing were, had less than a high school education. So they needed to make sure that the information could be understood. This year, we have a lot of dissemination products that we're coming out with. One that I think is going to be on your agenda is our older adult suicide, homicide and overdose deaths. And we can come back and speak to you on issues if the group has something that they would like us to do some research on, analyze. We can come back and show that. Or if you individually, teams that you're working with, or if you've got a particular project that you're working on and you need data for, please reach out to us. One of the other things that we do is our director, Dr. Marianne Mason, will also help you if you are working on framing out, if you're doing some research of your own and you need to frame out the data component of that, we can help you with that. If it's related to, work that we do, homicides, suicides, or overdose deaths, she can help you frame that out. So to give you an idea of how we work, we can work at the state level. We can bring data up to that level and get reports at the state level. We also work at the Department of Health region level. And we burrow down to individual counties. And so we can also work with townships that cross over, sometimes many different communities within a county. We can pull data together for you on that. And then in places like Chicago, we can work, we have burrowed down into their health equity zone level and can work at a street by street level. So if you have an area where there's a lot of overdose deaths, homicides or suicides, we can actually get down to the street level and pull data for you. So this very quickly, some of the things that we do. Sorry, I know I'm going through this very quickly, but you can connect with us. We have a newsletter available. All of these links that are underlined are hot, so you can sign up for our newsletter. You can look at go join us on LinkedIn. What's neat about that is that we have weekly presentations. So we bring in thought leaders from across the country to speak. And there's some incredible speakers come in. We have our reports that you can look at, and we can update them for you. Or if you need unique report for a work that you're doing, we do that all the time. And if you're north of I-80, you can speak with me. And south, you would speak to my colleague, Katie Kelly. And we are two Kathleen's, actually, but she goes by Katie, I go by Kathleen. And we also have a link to the cost of injury. And so this is through the CDC, and this goes back to 2017 when they last did this cost of injury analysis. And they also have the state of Illinois and the cost for injury per person. They broke it down in the state of Illinois, and I know that they're updating that, so we will update that. and get you current information